pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to the 9:30 a.m. March 3rd work session here at Town Hall. I will ask the Secretary Treasurer to commence with the roll.
Scott Horowitz.
I am here.
Ed Warner, I'm present. Rich T. Marin.
Here.
Joe McLaughlin.
Here.
Matt Parsons.
Present.
We're all here, Mr. President.
All right, let's get started. I see we have our Parks Superintendent, Kristen Doulos. I'd like to ask you to come up and let's talk about your parking by permit regulations discussion on the Trustee Road beaches. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Morning, Kristen.
Just gonna add the little handout first of mine. See if you want to hand it down. You got it there.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's front and back this sheet.
Thank you.
So thank you for having me. I've had some brief discussions with some of you about this, and I've also come in front of the town board in a work session to discuss this. My goal is to standardize the signage on access roads and beaches. Currently, we have 46 parking by permit locations throughout the town in 7 different time frames. So it's, yes, it gets very confusing for staff who are replacing the signage, for the police department, for the public, traffic control. You know, sometimes the signs get mixed up. They grab the wrong sign when one needs to be replaced. I think we're in a good position to look at this right now because during COVID, we put different restrictions on a lot of the signage. A lot of that had to be done with like sticker decals over existing signs. Those are since like deteriorating. So we're at a point where a lot of our signs like need to get updated, or they've just rusted out and you know, need it because of that. So it felt like a good time to embark upon this and try to make everything just consistent from a May 15th to a September 15th time frame. Now, you actually have in your trustee code that the trustee roads for your trustee parking permits is May 15th, September 15th, whereas chapter 312 of the town code has those same roads as July 1st to Labor Day. So we would actually be coming consistent with your trustee code on the trustee access roads. And then of course there's a lot of other access roads throughout the town that we would change it to. So you could kind of see a listing of everything here. We also had 2 roads that we do have signage on that weren't actually in our chapter 312, which is Pine Neck Avenue, Circle Beach, and the north side of Road H. So Road H was brought in during COVID. It's on your books actually, but it was throughout the year sometimes enforced, sometimes not enforced, depending on, you know, certain circumstances. So we would suggest at this point that we continue to keep the parking by permit on the north side of Road H.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think it all
I
makes sense so far.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Just
it-
like simplify.
to make it to make it uniform. I know what we're doing here now. When I first ran with Sunday back in 19 years ago, we started doing some of this, changing the dates and stuff like that. And multiple trustee boards, multiple town boards, throwing COVID in there, it had become the parking like haphazard, how it was done. So I applaud you for taking this and making it uniform for everybody to enforce and the public to know too. It's, you know, you pull down there.
It's the right time to do it.
Yep.
And the signs are cheaper. Like everybody is not like questioning especially the parking. You know, the people writing the tickets because they kind of botch it because they're not sure.
Yeah, and it's really not their fault
Yeah.
because sometimes there'll
It's
be
different
a
everywhere.
road end with 2 different sets of rules on it just simply because there was an error made along the way, because we go into our sign shop and there's literally, you know, 10 to 15 versions of any given sign
Yeah.
throughout the course of the past 20 years when they were made. So, yeah, I'm just really trying to
Clear the decks,
standardize it,
yeah.
make it clear.
And multiple roads were added during COVID, the
Correct.
town roads, which people think, well, they're trustee roads because they go to the water, but technically they're town roads. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
have you had any discussions with Charlie McCarl and the highway about this? Because I know, some of them are under his jurisdiction, and
I have more so to the extent of assisting with sign making.
Yeah.
And they were extremely supportive of that. So, I'm going to have to go back with them too. I didn't really think of it from the perspective of being a highway road end. I was just thinking of the sign maintenance.
right.
So I could just reiterate to them, like, this is actually a road end, but.
and then the next question is the cost of all the signage and stuff like that.
Well, working with the highway department printing shop is going to drastically decrease the
Oh, good.
cost
Absolutely.
of
Because
that.
we know it's expensive
We-
to have these signs.
Yes.
Right, we've had those conversations with the highway super and the deputy, and that's a great point, because they can handle it all in-house, streamline it, it'll make it a lot easier, consistency on the enforcement. It's the right time to do this.
Yeah, I already spoke with the highway department and given them some preliminary numbers of what we'd probably have to print, seeing if we could potentially use some old signs that could just be refaced. So, yeah, we could save probably at least 50 to 75% of the cost rather than going out to printing.
Yeah.
And then I've also reached out to Carl Scheinhamel, who's the head of traffic control. He's all for anything that makes things easier and,
Sure.
and more standard. So,
And those are good dates because I mean it's different now. There's a different constituent out here than when a lot of those signs were put in however long ago.
right.
So, yeah.
And you need a full season permit in the summer for those access roads anyway. So typically it's a resident who's using those roads. Their permit is still good through June 30th of 25. So it's not really going to affect, even if they don't have their beach permit by May 15th, the one from last season will still be valid.
Right.
Good.
Where's your time frame for completion?
Well, right now I'm working with the town attorney's office to draft the amendments, so it's whenever they could put it on. I'm hoping, the goal was to put it on to set a public hearing at the very least in a meeting in March.
Okay.
So I would anticipate that the public hearing would be held either the second meeting in March or the first meeting in April. And then whether there'll be a notice of adoption in the same meeting or not, I'm not sure. But long story short, I would anticipate by the end of April having the code amended.
Okay.
If the town board decides to
Right.
indeed, move
So
forward.
what's
They-
next steps for
We
us?
we have our notice of public hearing on for our amendment, which will basically, we have one change that says on trustee roads where permits in town of Southampton parks and recreation permits are concurrently allowed, any parking restriction imposed by the town of Southampton shall be deemed to have been imposed by the trustees as well. We're gonna have a public hearing on the 17th meeting with a notice of adoption if we adopt it at that time. So you'll have, at least going into the season, I think our part of it is done.
Right.
Okay.
If there's something else you need, we can amend it for public hearing. Just let me know what you need and I'll make the change.
Correct.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
you're good.
Yeah, so, worst case scenario, we don't have all the signage changed over leading into the season, but the signage that's up is less restrictive anyway for the most part, so I'm not, even if we have to do it heading into the season, I'm not too worried about it disrupting people's, ability
Well, really,
to
the
park
true
there.
season doesn't start until like July.
Yeah,
So July and August is when the meat of the season is. Before that, it gives us a few months to be able to get
When do
prepared.
the temporary cops start?
I'm not exactly sure, I would imagine by Memorial Day, somewhere around there.
Because that's sometimes the hiccup.
Yeah.
They're scratching tickets and they don't really, I know it's happened a couple times in the village of Southampton, but I didn't know when the
Yes.
town.
There's going to be a
Temporary
transition
jobs, yeah.
period here.
Yeah.
We'll work
Yeah.
through
But
that.
this will
and
make
then-
it easier for them.
Yeah,
At least
some
they
of
know.
the
Yeah.
dates are actually further back right now than May 15th. Some of them are April 1st. So, they were already enforcing on some of those roads earlier. So that will actually some roads will become less restrictive, some will become more restrictive. I think it's a happy medium, and I think it's the dates that we're like realistically working in. in our season is that May 15th, September 15th. You know, the shoulder seasons have gotten a little bit more extended than they
Yes.
used to be.
Mhm.
So
Fall's nicer here than spring, apparently.
Yeah.
You know, it's still cold, and then you got allergies. You know,
Well,
so
it's,
Yeah.
it's usually a week before Memorial Day and a week after Labor Day, so
Yeah.
it gives you a nice time
Yeah.
frame to be able to.
I think it's good.
It's great.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's
we're,
good.
We're all for it. I'm
Yes.
all for it.
No, I am too.
All right, so
All right.
we're already wheels in motion. I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Yep.
And anything
Thank you.
further you need, you know where to find us.
Okay.
Any way we can help, we're here.
That's a copy of the agenda.
Oh,
for the
okay.
notice
Is
of
this
public
for me?
hearing. Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. You got it.
All right, let's go back to the top of this list. We wanted to get Kristen Doulos on her way. She's very busy. Fish stocking proposal.
All right. Every year we do fish stocking in the local ponds. We've reached out to, let's see, which one is it? Reached out to several providers for the fish stocking, and I believe Cold Springs Hatchery has come in with the best price. So we're looking to, do similar to what we did last year. I'm trying to get the numbers here, but I don't have them. So $5,000, right? Is that the quote that we got for the fish stocking?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. And the list of ponds that we plan on stocking is Trout Pond, Big Fresh Pond, Little Fresh Pond, Wildwood Lake, Alcott's Pond, Beaver Lake, Kells Pond, East Pond, Aspetuck Creek, and Round Pond in Sac Harbor. So these are consistent that what we have done in the past. I know we've expanded from when I first was on the board. Every year I ask anybody in their areas if they want to include any of the other ponds, lakes and ponds that we have in the town. So this is the list that we have for this year. So, and then I believe we're going to get some golden shiners to put into a couple of the ponds. I believe East Creek and Eastport, and also the pond Silverbrook in Flanders, which we did in the past, and it's to remediate the mosquito larvae. Instead of having insecticides sprayed around the ponds, we use the minnows to eat and they spawn 5 times in a season. So by the end of the season, the population should grow and they should be able to winter over. So we should be able to establish these fish stocks in these 2 ponds to keep the mosquito population down.
Good.
All right.
Thank you for including Silverbrook. I was actually going to.
Well, I
That's
mean,
good.
that was the first pond that we did the project with the recommendation from Jim Walker, because Fred Havermeyer and I walked the pond when we're putting the bubbler in there. We seen all these little mosquito larvae in there, and we had a question of how do we get rid of them, and that was the easiest, most environmentally
Solution.
So, yep.
So that's good. Then we've got the shellfish seeding proposal with Cornell Cooperative.
Yes. I know we've gone back and forth as far as changing the proposal with Cornell. Initially, we used to just get hard clams, scallops, and oysters and just put them in just like that. I know Trustee Marin had some questions about using spot-on shell as far as with the oysters in Quantic Bay to be able to make an actual reef appear and keep adding to it over the next few years. And that way the oysters don't settle into the ground and just get smothered. So we had done that last year, and we had asked Cornell to give us a little, oversight on what's going on there as to how the spout-on shell did and survived and stuff like that. So I believe we're going to do the clams this year. We're going to get 150,000 clams that are going to be planted flat out, and then we're going to overwinter some of the clams, 100,000 of them with them to get them to grow basically another season larger. The survival rate from the clams that we get right out of the hatchery to these other clams that are wintered over is almost, it goes from like 10% to almost 90%. So getting fewer clams but having a much better survival rate is, personally, I think it's the way to go. We're looking to also do the bay scallops, 40,000 of them, which we have done every year since I've been on the board. We're working with Cornell and the college and the DEC to come up with a parasite-resistant scallop. I believe they've done a lot of genetics surveys on the scallops in Murchis Bay and our waters, and also out in Peconics. And they're trying to come up with a scallop that has the genetics of more of a southern-based scallop, which looks almost identical, is almost identical to our northern scallop, but they seem to have a better survival rate. So they're trying to get that genome and to, basically spawn it for seeding purposes. And the oysters, we're going to get 40,000 of them, and I guess we'll discuss as a board where we're going to place those into the water within the town.
Talked about that Tiana spot again.
Yeah,
That seems to be a good one.
Time spot's a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, I know historically we have done like North Sea Harbor, but the Conscious Point Oysters already gives us oysters there. So, and in Cold Springs we have Peter Topping with the Peconic Baykeeper. He does some oysters there, and Red Creek.
Yeah.
So we've used our oysters last year for enhancement of the shellfish spawner sanctuary in Tiana Bay.
And the 40,000 bay scallops, is that just because that's all they can produce? They can't jack that number up?
Well, I mean, it's that was what we came up with for $35,000.
I just didn't know if we could cut out some spat on shell, considering we're going to do that Mecox relay.
Well, this is a preliminary, draft, ask. I said we're going to bring it before the whole board, discuss it, and if we want to tweak it a little bit, we can.
The better survival rate size.
Well,
I'd like to
makes
see
the most
more
sense.
bay scallops and less spat on shell, but that's just quickly looking at this.
All right. Well, why don't we discuss it and
Yeah.
come up with some kind of a realistic number that we can, maybe cut back on the $21,000 worth of spat on shell and add to the $2,800. Let me get a hold of the.
Just see if they can
Cornell.
produce that, because
Yeah,
I know
if-
scallops are dicey. They
Well-
take up so much room in the hatchery.
Yeah, and they're also doing it for everybody. They do it for the commercial aquacultures and for us and for other townships. So let me reach out to Cornell and see if they can get that a little bit higher, and I'll circle back with the board. All right?
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right, so we have the Lake Agawam application.
Yes. Brilliant. We've given a permit for this whole project on Lake Agawam with the village and the conservancy. We've given several permits for it. I believe it's the last, correct me if I'm wrong, James, it's the last renewal that we can have. And what they're asking for is a little bit different than what we originally approved. So I asked them to come back with a formal application so that we can look at it, review it, and see what tweaks they have. I believe we discussed it internally, and we're okay with it, but I want the rest of the board to understand that it's not the original application that we approved. I know you've been front and center on this, Joe, so I would
When are they
just,
coming?
we want to have them come in next meeting and give us. Yes. Yes, and if they want to come in for a Zoom meeting, explain to the board, I know the outfall and stuff like that was a little bit different, so I want to make sure everybody on the board is clear with it, and also everybody in the public, so.
I think it's important for the public to have the information. That's the best way to get it to them.
Yeah, and we're using a lot of CPF funding, so it's a very big project, and, if it works here, they can probably use it as a template for other ponds.
And that's part of it. That we can put this machine somewhere else to
Yep.
mitigate other areas.
Yep,
Okay, good with that.
all right, so
We're good.
that's it for me.
We're good. All right, those are the discussion points for the work session. Now we can move into the general permit applications for determination. First one is Deborah Tennyson, Feinstein, 17 Weesick, Shoreline Bulkheading. I see a representative from Shoreline Bulkheading here, sitting in the back.
Here.
You can come here, you can sign in.
How are you guys?
Huh?
Good morning.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Sign in, state your name for the record.
Michael Trovich, Shoreline Bulkheading.
Okay. So you are asking for a modification to go to 18 inches, right? Remove and replace 180 feet of bulkhead and raise to 18, an elevation of 18 from its existing. Installation of capping. You're gonna have a 16-foot southern return, a 20-foot northern return. You're gonna be doing a naturally vegetated, natural disturbance buffer behind the bulkhead. That's gonna work in coordination with another buffer as well from the
Yes,
Environment Division,
yes,
right?
I believe Marty's got some plan for our swimming pool.
Right, so there's a much larger buffer, I believe, that's in place. So you want to go from 12 to 18, right? I was there Saturday. I looked at it, and I don't see any issue with doing that based on the adjoining properties and that locale. I mean, if you want to speak to how you're going to handle getting this,
If you guys need a little bit of, the property is pretty much on a peninsula. There's no bulkheading on either side. So the reason to come up that extra 18 inches and heavily vegetate beyond that is to just keep the water shedding to a minimum. The actual extra inches that we're asking for is really just to minimize the flow of the water coming down.
Yeah, I can see the grade right there. That's kind of what you're getting at.
right?
Yeah.
And it's super low.
Yeah, I want to bring the bulkhead up higher so I can still leave a 6-inch reveal, and that will, stop the water and then it'll dissipate through the ground. We're going to keep the ground at least 6 inches lower. So the extra inches that I'm asking for is just to have the physical wood higher.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of increasing, as long as it's not gonna be detrimental to the neighboring properties,
I don't
which
see
just
that.
doesn't look like it's a
No.
problem.
No,
And you're just trying to like keep runoff from
Right.
going
I
into
want
the
it to
bank.
percolate through the ground.
And yeah,
Right.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's a better project.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this case. So
In light of our 4 and 5 and 6 inch rainfalls that we're having in the sheet runoff, that if you have the elevation of the ground exactly the same height as the bulkhead, it just runs right in. So having that elevation change and slowing the water down and having some vegetation behind there is what we're trying to accomplish
So-
here.
Right, so for this
Okay.
site, for where this is, it makes sense. It'll be a better project by doing that. So I would advance this,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
And there is stamp plans, so you're good.
You have stamp plans already. Okay, so
Yes.
we're good. Now, do you have something else here, right, while you're sitting there?
I got one more that I can handle. The other one I think I'll let Kristen handle.
Okay, so we're gonna advance this one. Okay, so which one is it that you have? Is it,
509 Captain's
I mean,
Walk, Captain's
yes.
Neck.
It's just a modification to make the make it straight.
I just want to make it straighter. If you look at, I don't know, pull up the drawing, but it's kind of like in a zigzag fashion. Where
Yeah.
there's like 5 corners.
I was curious as to why you guys want to change it.
Why do we want to change it?
Is it
Just
on
the
preference
pure
or-
access
okay.
of getting to the water easier, safer. He's got younger
Okay,
children.
so it was owner preference then basically.
Yeah,
Owner, yeah.
it's owner preference, and it's just aesthetically it'll look nicer. I mean, better than a bunch of zigzags.
But you'll have to get a permit for the fact. There's a lot of farm. I actually was down there last fall, and there was quite a bit of growth with highways and so forth. So you're gonna have to, I guess, get a permit for that. I would imagine.
Yes, I have an application. I think it's already approved from the DEC for the same modification. Just if you look at what we're trying to do, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
I think it decreased the length by like 2 or 3 feet. It's nothing crazy.
And you're still looking to do the jet ski permit, the jet ski rack permits? That was a question as well.
I'm not too sure.
That's a separate application.
Yeah, no, I know.
jet ski float or jet ski?
The floats.
Oh, the floats?
Yeah.
Are you doing jet ski floats?
I
I think
believe
there was one in
they
the
were.
application.
You have them? Well, they already got those applications. Okay, so they already have permits for
Okay,
that.
good.
Yeah, this was just a design change that I was.
No,
Okay.
I know.
for my
So
application.
James, you looked at this?
Yeah, it's just.
Fine.
It's just.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Okay. So I don't see any reason why it can't advance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, you good? And then you say the other one you're gonna hold.
I'll let Kristen dive.
All right,
into
so
that
we,
one
so
about
we'll
the
hold
grass
your other
plantings
one,
and
which
stuff.
is Tannhauser, right?
Yes.
12 Sun Court. And then this one here can advance.
Yes.
And this is 509 Captains. And that's all you have for us today.
That's it.
All right.
Members of the board, guys, thank you very much.
Kristen did send me an email about, I think, 15 Common Point Drive
Yeah,
about the seasonal docks.
yes,
There is a reason that those docks are seasonal is because of the ice that piles up in there from Peconic Bay.
okay.
There were permanent docks here years ago, even though they had bubblers, it piles up and then it freezes and the docks literally get lifted up out of there. And that's why, the trustees have always had, I mean, there are a couple permanent docks, so if she wants to come in and discuss it with the whole board and bring a presentation, we can discuss that a little bit further, okay?
Okay, I think I'll join her on that one as far as the
Yeah.
construction goes. I know things have changed a lot too. Listen, I know our ice hasn't been the same as it was
Right.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Both, new cross bracing and ice piles. I mean, we have piers all over the bay
Yeah.
that have never lifted up
Right.
in 20 years.
Right.
So, I mean,
Proper construction.
yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Well,
It's
that'd
not-
be good
Well, now-
education for our board.
Plus-
is how
plus-
so,
docks
Plus
are built.
nowadays, from what he's talking about, we require stamped engineered plans. So there's a difference of
Yeah.
what was done 20 years ago to what's done now.
A lot of those docks are for just 4x4s and seasonal docks. They were put in May and taken out in September. So now that things are evolving a little bit more with bigger docks, bigger pilings, and better, construction.
Less ice.
Wow.
Hopefully, we'll see. I don't
Job
know, it's good
security
and
for
bad,
some
yeah.
people, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Just give you guys a quick thing, with the pilings, with the way we design our piers, all of our pilings are put in fat side down.
That's the way it's
Butt
supposed to
end
be.
down.
So.
It
end down.
releases when it comes up. That's the way it's supposed to be.
There's not a lot of us that do it.
Some are
but,
cheating.
That's it. That's
Well,
job security.
The
but-
difference between treated poles and the tropical hardwood, the tropical hardwood doesn't float. The other poles do float. So when you put the tropical wood in, it seems to be much heavier and denser, and it doesn't lift out as easily as the other wood. That I remember this years ago. They used to just pull, and they also used to use trees, like oak trees and stuff like that, and they still had the bark on them. So when the ice would catch around them, they would literally lift them right up.
Mm.
So, like I said, the construction has changed.
Well, tropicals are about to change too, I hope, with you guys. If you guys are looking into the tropical and CCA.
Well, we're going to have a discussion about it.
See you this afternoon. It'll
We'll
be the
see.
starts of it, yeah.
We're learning about this because there's inconsistency with the regulatory authorities, which is not particularly logical. So
Yeah.
we don't know. We're all trying to learn about
Yeah.
this. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, I think it's a good move to go back to it. That's up to you guys. But,
Well, there's going to be a process by which we
yeah.
figure out why it is that other regulatory authorities are off in other directions. So we're
Yeah.
going to walk our way through that by speaking to a lot of professionals and doing our research on this because there's a lot of discussion and a lot of complaints and issues. So
Tropical pilings don't last. That's all I'm going to say. There's ones that are out there 20 years old that are
Yeah.
rotting away.
Yeah,
And that's been our concern as
Yeah.
well as like we've said before, the environmental hypocrisy of cutting down the rainforests.
It ain't that green.
It's not that green. So let's really see like how long an impregnated CCA piling leaches CCA.
Okay.
But we
there's,
kind of have to cover our sides before we make a decision.
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of analysis that's been done and we're all trying to learn about this
Yeah.
to make sure the decisions that we make are good decisions, especially based on the fact that other regulatory authorities, in our locale are not consistent. And I think if you're going to really have good environmental policy, everybody needs to be rowing in the same direction or the boat's going around in circles. And right now, it's a little unclear. So we're trying to get some good clarity with some science and some common sense and logic behind it. So,
Okay.
all right, that's for the next meeting, I think.
yes.
Sounds good, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Have a great day.
All right.
Two. So let's go to 10 Marlin Road, American Marine Construction, Edward and Elka. Is anybody here representing this? Hello?
Good morning.
Morning.
If you could sit down and state your name and sign in.
I most certainly will. Got my glasses on.
Good morning, glasses help.
Okay.
I've learned this.
Yeah, unfortunately. So Deborah Labasso, American Marine Construction.
Okay. See attached. Huh.
The prior permits or, the job description.
Right. Remove and replace approximately 102 linear feet of existing bulkhead using composite material, 2 10-foot returns. green heart horizontal dead man with tie rods,
And I agree with him.
18-inch cap of composite material, backfill with 10 yards of clean granular fill. Gonna replace a ramp and a 6x20 float using green heart. For future reference, if you can get that on, like here,
Okay.
it's really important that we get that,
Okay.
right? James, gotta get it on the cover sheet.
Okay.
This makes the whole review process a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, to handle, so that would be
Okay.
helpful for, if you could do that, that would be great.
No problem.
What do we have, James? Do we have,
We have an old, what looks like survey, sort of plan. Do you have new plans by any chance?
Those are new plans. There were, with the application, there were new plans that came in. It was a complete, application. There were plans, picture, survey.
I've got a,
There's an old survey in there also.
I got an old Hackstrom map,
Yep, that's the location map.
and, I got some pictures.
I have a survey from 19.
Here's a set of plans if you read the plan.
We need an
With the job
updated survey for
description.
this piece of property. That's something that we can work
You
on.
should have all that. There's a plan view and a course view. Here's the pictures.
Yeah, I'll have the plans on here.
I have,
Do you have it in the file?
yeah, I have something here. Now this is a different type of neighborhood than the last one.
There's all adjacent bulkhead, this is on a, you know, with the second sheet plan with the adjacent property owners. Which you should have that too.
Yeah, but you're not, yeah, okay, so I don't know,
You've got pictures.
Yes.
Who's that floater?
yeah, I don't, is there a permit for this floating dock? What are you doing with elevation here? I see your neighbor's bulkhead's higher. The adjoining bulkhead
We're
is,
doing a removal and replacement in kind, they are having their own, returns.
right? Is the return gonna match the adjoining property owner? Is it going to the height of the adjoining property owner?
The return, we can do that.
Because there needs to be more clarification on this project. You know, we need to know about that. And these plans aren't, they're not engineered plans, right? They're not stamped engineered plans.
You're gonna need stamped engineered plans.
And we need to know
I'm gonna
about,
recommend that the height of the grade of the bulkhead is the same grade as the adjacent.
on this
neighbors.
one, yeah, because I think that while you're doing this,
I don't believe that floating dock is probably permitted. If it is, you know, you're probably gonna, I recommend you get a foil to see if that's an actually permitted dock. Otherwise, it's gonna have to be removed or be in the
They can
application.
remove it, yeah, I think it's just tied up there.
right, so we're gonna need to do a little work on this.
Yeah.
If you can go
I'm
back,
just giving you
Yeah.
like a dot point list that you can kind of fire
Yeah,
through, so
go-
that way you come back a little bit cleaner and neater.
right, we're gonna,
We also, while you're writing on there, is that you have the, on that cover sheet, is that all the information that you're applying for be on the cover sheet, not on an attachment?
right, so you're gonna have to,
Well, oh, right.
you gotta get
Yeah,
this
I'm
on
just- I'm
here.
just giving you the
Yeah.
dot points to,
We're gonna need you to address how you're handling the elevation here, if it's gonna be the same or not the same. But I'm already looking at, you know, there's a differential here, so you're gonna wanna address that while you're going through this. You know, obviously, let's figure out what's going on with your floating dock,
Height of bulkhead, yeah, float remove.
right?
is that cap just on, that's just a cap for the top, right, of the whaler, right?
What are we talking about?
This cap, that's just the width of the whaler, correct?
This looks like it's a little bigger than the width of the whale. They're a little bit bigger than that.
You allow 24 inches.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so I think it meets that 24, but it's
Well,
Because
greater
you're
than the
doing-
whale.
And then this dock where they're
This
taking
is-
the pictures.
It's just a neighbor.
The neighbor.
It's a neighbor's dock, right? This here,
That's, yeah, that's the neighbors.
right? So
Okay.
you're looking at the whole cross section from standing on the neighbor's vantage point. So you can see you're pretty. There's a little bit of a gap down here, but you can see a pretty good gap here. So you're going to have to take a look at what's going to make sense on the elevation here.
And then where are we as far
You
as
can see this is starting to lose.
electric and all
So
that stuff?
here's a question then with the neighbors. If the neighbors was not permitted per se, do they still request the
Well,
height to go up to the neighbors for
I
the
wa-
sake of, I know what you're saying.
You want to get a good project going on it that makes sense. That's the problem is people doing things without permits.
But that's-
This is a tightly constrained neighborhood and it
Right.
creates issues up and down the whole place, which is why, you need some good plans and we really need some good direction. So when we get old stuff and we get a C attached, it's kind of tough to deal with because we really need, some concise
Well, the
information.
old stuff might be from the previous permit that they had.
Right, but we need to know what project it is that you're doing now. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we're going to need answers to all of this. I mean,
Right.
my suggestion with this is we put it on hold, have a conversation with James, our environmental analyst, and we'll give her a checklist of those items that you need to check the boxes on and get, God bless you, and get things where it needs to be. That way, when it comes back on the work session agenda, you kind of got it, where we can. Because we can't do anything with this right now.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Thank you. With the elevation though, my question is this, if the adjacent property
That's not-
was not a permitted,
Don't misunderstand what we're saying here. It's like we want to take a look at this property,
Right.
the project it is that you have proposed, and what its relationship is to the adjoining properties in a neighborhood that's highly constrained.
right,
Okay, so we want to look at it on its own merit, and we're also going to look at what's going either
Okay.
side of it and make a determination of.
because you're questioning the height of the bulkhead.
Well, because you're not indicating anything in your plans,
Okay.
so it's a guessing game. So we don't know, right? So my suggestion to you is, we put this on hold. You speak to James, the environmental analyst. He will give you a list of what we need to go through, so that when it comes back on the work session, you're further along, right?
Where are we when we have electric and water on our bulkhead?
Well, that's not our, this
It's not
is.
our problem.
Well, no, it's got to be
it's gotta
accounted
be on
for.
the code, right?
Right, it's got to be
Yeah.
accounted for in the process, and that's another thing that'll be on the
That's
checklist.
another checklist is electric.
Electric.
Right, and again, I think that what makes the most sense is, give a call.
Doing an UL certificate for the electric.
Exactly. It's a separate issue from us, and we can direct you in how to, who to speak to about that. Okay?
So stamped engineered plans, height of the bulkhead, float removal, or they can.
Or foil to see if it was already pre-existing.
It doesn't say in the last foil one,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe it was just left there. I don't know, but it's just.
And then you have to make a decision whether you want to apply for a permit
Right.
for a floater or
Right, but you
remove it
can.
altogether.
You can.
Yeah, which you
Okay.
can. Yeah.
You can do that. You just gonna have to amend the plans, which is why I think that.
Okay.
Okay, and we have staff that can answer your questions, as you go through it to help guide you through the process. That way, you're productive at your work session. Right?
Yeah, I think if you work with the in-house staff, you'll
Yeah.
probably be able to nail it down really clean for the next time. you come
Exactly.
in.
Exactly.
The one thing with the
Because we know you got to do it. We understand it's a good project. We get it. We want to
Yeah. it's
work with you on it. We
maintenance.
just want to. There's a couple
We
things.
just want to make sure it's like
Right. Because this stuff.
mostly to your benefit, like the higher,
Which I
it could be
understand.
beneficial depending on the grade of the lawn, but it's all these need to really be nailed down in the
Because the cross
application.
section, yeah, I'm looking at.
Yeah, and how are you going to get to the floater? Are you going to have a ramp and a?
Yes, there is
So you
in
need
the
to-
job description, it says for ramp.
Yeah, they've got replaced a 3x14 ramp. and a 6x20 float using green hard framing.
Oh.
So they got,
There you
yeah,
go.
but the thing is, you
It's
have it all
saying
like,
in place, but it's
you've got it on, like again,
Okay.
you're creating this confusion by the way you presented it. So that's what I'm saying, is you gotta get it concise
so you
on the
want it written
paperwork.
on that. Okay.
Right. There's a checklist of things that you need to do to clean this up. And our staff's available to, answer your questions
Yeah, we've
and,
had
and
it
guide you
prior
through
to the
that. You
meeting.
follow?
Sure.
So right, you're gonna have to have buffer language in there as well
Okay.
on this project,
That's not a
and a
problem.
list of, it shouldn't be, and a list of the plants.
Okay.
But we generally don't like to see this prior, see attached prior permit,
Right,
we
I
need,
have
we
the
need, yeah, no, we need a
registration.
description there, and that's,
Okay.
really important.
Okay,
But believe me, they'll help guide you through that, so it
Okay.
gets,
I'll stop by James.
stop by James, give a call. All right, just
Alright.
clear up some of the
Yep.
unknowns, that's all. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, I got Stephanie Cardacy, 2 Dolphin Road, East Quogue. All right. Hello, good morning. All right, so this is, again, at Shinnecock Shores, highly constrained area. This is a bulkhead that is in desperate need of work, right?
Yes.
It's got to be worked on.
Yes.
So you want to do in place, all material, non-treated vinyl sheeting. You're going to use 16 footers, right?
Yes.
So 8 foot in, 8 foot out, right? Good project. You're going to do 5 pilings, 10-inch diameter. You're going to do buffer. We've got a 10-foot
Yes.
buffer going on
Yes.
behind the bulkhead with native species. So
Okay.
this is a standard. What do we need here, James?
You just need the cover sheet to say that there's no increase in height of the bulkhead.
Right,
I
just,
think we were proposing to match the neighbor's height. of the
all right, so then you gotta indicate, you gotta address that,
I think, okay. I'll
right?
add
Because
that
that's
to the
not
cover
indicated, just like, the other one. Indicate what the elevation's gonna be.
Do you know how far?
sheet. Yeah, it's gonna be elevation 6.6. I believe we called that out in the section on C2.
Yeah, we need that.
Difference of what it is now?
I wanna say it's less than 18, it's probably in the 16 range, but I give you the existing elevation.
Yeah, we're gonna need that. And then just stamp,
They're not.
okay.
So I'll give you the existing elevation, show the 10-foot buffer.
Indicated on the cover sheet, stamp plans. Got the buffer language in there, native vegetation, right? Anything else, James? That's it? You guys good?
Yep.
All right.
Otherwise, the drawings get reissued to you.
I think, then this, how soon can you get that? Pretty soon?
Probably submit at the end of this week, for sure.
So
if not
this,
sooner.
this 2 weeks sooner, because we could advance it pending receipt.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could advance pending receipt.
Okay.
The
I'll
engineer's
get
sitting right here. He's gonna get them to you. He'll get them to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Do you have anything else on here for us?
The stamp plans will just still have to be.
Yeah, they're still gonna have to go through, yeah, they'll still have to go through the
Work session, next work
next
session.
work session,
But,
exactly.
Yeah, we'll get all the
Exactly, so-
material review and move forward.
Get that as soon as you can to
Yep.
James, and then we can get it on.
No problem.
We're good?
I'm here for 8B, Old North Highway as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming down.
8B, that's me.
All right. 8B Old North, that's you.
Yes. Hello. Morning.
Morning.
8B Old North Highway, East End Land Planning, Inc.
Yeah, Katie Osecki was not able to attend due to an injury. So
Okay.
as the engineer on the project, I was attending her and
Okay.
the building team as well.
Yep. It's basically replacing a staircase on a bluff on the Peconic Beach Road side. Peconic Beach Road of Peconic. basically, we have a 75-foot Peconic Beach roadway over there, easement. Then there's also a conservation easement on the property, I believe, the Conservation Board? Do you have?
I think we have an application with the conservation board.
Okay, yep. Basically, they're replacing the stairway that, basically comes off the steps down to the stairway to the beach.
Right, it's a replacement of the existing stair.
This wasn't, I thought Marty took this over, that having to do these permits.
No.
No, it's
No,
not?
because we still have jurisdiction because it's
Okay.
75-foot
Yeah,
Peconic Beach Road,
Peconic Beach Road.
that's ours, that's ours.
That's ours. So basically, it starts in ours and goes landward. So basically,
Not letting anybody take anything over.
no,
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
No one's
Yeah,
taking
I
nothing
mean-
over around here. Be none of that.
that's on my little Peconic Beach Road. Can you have the surveyor plot the Peconic Beach Road on here, on your survey? And basically, it's from the high tide mark landward, and the material that you're going to be using is non-treated, correct? All compliant
That's correct.
with our codes right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I'd like to move this ahead then.
We
once we-
just need the dimensions of the staircase on the cover sheet. There's no
Sure.
dimensions.
Okay,
But then they have the untreated number.
Yep.
We'll put that all on the cover sheet.
and then get a copy of the revised survey, and we should, once we receive that, then we can put it on for the next.
Right.
Okay. So we good then, James? All right,
Yep.
Well,
I'll
the
get
plans
cover
are
sheet.
already stamped, right?
Yeah, they're stamped,
they're
but I'll
already
update
out,
it with the
yeah.
information on the cover sheet that
Yep.
you guys need. And then we'll get the updated engineered plans as well as the survey. We can give you guys.
okay.
Just for my information in the future, so if you do something like this, you want a dimension on the front sheet of the site? What is the dimensions on the cover sheet?
Yeah, I
The
think
cover
on the
sheet is the permit.
page,
Character,
on here.
character, dimension, description,
So
work.
here we'll give the dimensions, the distance, non-treated wood, call it out right.
You know what it is? Here's the thing. What happens is, we get these descriptions in on a permit, and then there's all these other details on your plans.
Right.
And then people come in and say, oh, well, it says it right over here in this little corner. We're
Yeah.
gonna, no. On the cover
Yeah.
sheet, this is what we're permitting,
Yeah,
not this thing
on
that's
the general
on
application.
page
sheet,
72.
There's a character, dimensions, and description of work. Put
Because
it
this is
right.
reviewed by
put it-
multiple people and they come and inspect it. And,
You want a clean
just
reference,
gives
right?
them.
Clean
Yeah, look at
reference
it.
right on the front page
Yes.
is exactly what you're doing. If it's not there, then hey, what's going on here?
Yep.
We don't want to play Where's Waldo with the plans.
No.
You guys look at hundreds of drawings, if not thousands.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
All right.
That's like the lady talking about needing her glasses. When I started in this building with the town, I didn't wear glasses. You know what I mean? I guess, yes, I am getting older, but I think examining all this stuff put a lot of strain. So,
I'm trying to hold off as long as I can.
well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
you know what? You know what happened to
Yeah.
me? You know what happened to me is my arms got too short. Is what happened to me.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
Appreciate it. Good day.
All right. So the next one that you have, Mr. Warner, Trustee Warner, is the Town of Southampton project, 29 Lighthouse Road.
yes.
Somebody from L. King McLean here. I know didn't we beat this one around?
Yes.
Wait a bit.
We did it last meeting,
What else
too.
do we need from this? I thought we,
I-
James, what else do we need on this one? I thought we beat this one up pretty good, right? All right, so we don't need them for that. We just need
Yeah.
to have them send the stamped plans over here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
All right. So we'll
so we
advance
can move
this.
on to the next one,
Yep.
right? Yep. Advance that and get the stamped plans.
Advanced.
I would advance pen and stamp plans.
Yes.
Yeah, because we went round and round with that one. That's a good project.
And
The other one is we did, right? Oh, on hold, 12 Sun Court's on hold.
yeah.
So that's on hold.
Yep.
Right? So then we go into Trustee Marin with Oksana Lashko for Ernie Spellman, 12 Bayview Drive East.
This, well, we don't have anybody here, but this application is the subject of a court action in Supreme Court Riverhead. We've gotten some information from the petitioner's attorney that I'm reviewing. I would recommend very strongly that we hold a public hearing on this when it gets to the point of consideration. And at that point, with nobody else being here, I would just say, hold it.
Hold it. Okay. Next one that you have, Trustee Marin, is 149 Rose Hill LLC. Right, Twin Forks permits?
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you? Good. You're assisting.
Savannah White. Lisa Poyer, Twin Forks Permits on behalf of the applicant.
Billy Mack, First Coastal. Building the dock.
Building the dock. Okay, good.
Maybe.
Maybe. Proposed.
All right.
We have to go through the proposal first.
Okay. All right.
I believe you have plans in the file.
Go back to that cover sheet, please. Now, there's a textbook cover sheet right there, folks. Use that as the template. Thank you.
I think you covered everything in there.
I reviewed this area, just the short backstory on this. I know this area like the back of my hand. I talked to a few of the old timers that used to seine in this area because this starts to get into like one of the last real spots of traditional fishing that's available. On first review, I was like, why do they want to go out there? I don't know what the upland looks like, but if you hitch it to the north a little bit, you have deeper water closer to the shore. And it still doesn't deserve the traditional fishery that's there. And it actually gets deeper closer to the shore here than you think. As far as actually utilizing this dock, because that sand spit that comes out on the south side, that gets really shallow and unusable when the bay gets let out. So I just from local knowledge, I would say that if you hitch it to the north a little bit and go in a little shoaler, it's actually going to be more usable than where you have it now.
We could propose that.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm just trying to. I mean, it's less pier dock length you have to go out, and probably more because what you necessarily you go like north a little bit and hitch it around that big because there's that big hook that's in there.
That little cove or whatever, it's got some protection. That's why we kind of proposed it there, but I don't think the owner has a specific preference.
Is it showing that on the hydro numbers there? Or?
Yeah, the hydro number is showing a little bit, but I just know from local knowledge that it's a little bit.
I got you.
The farther you get away from that hook, the more usable it'll be.
Okay. Yeah, we could shift it over.
I'd shift it a little bit. You can see where the hydro numbers are a little bit deeper, closer to shore. I'd kind of recommend plugging it right there, and it doesn't disrupt any of the seining activity that's up that way.
We could do that.
And it's okay with all the other tests that have to be. You're plenty far off the property line.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll still be.
So you're good.
You're basically shortening
So-
the structure and, getting more water, so isn't that
We
the
do
goal?
have a DEC permit for this, so we have to modify that.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's okay.
They're not gonna. I don't. Less
I mean,
structure.
They'll
Yeah.
likely
Plot
modify
less
it,
structure.
but I just,
Yeah.
want to let you know.
Okay.
All right. So you good?
We'll revise.
Yeah.
Let's go back. And then
Resubmit.
I'll-
Okay.
Thanks.
You
All right.
have two in front of me.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true. I'll stick around then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So you
Yep.
we're good. Okay. Thank you. So you have
Both tab points. So which one do you want to start with first?
175.
Let's do the easy one first. Aaron, you want to bring up a file or something? Sorry, I do want.
Or something. What is or something? Are you sleeping?
Much he was reading the New York Times.
Is that right? I see him back there. He's relaxing. He's taking a little vacation back there. Good morning, Aaron.
You guys start too early for me.
Sorry. We apologize. We apologize.
It's 9:30.
To get it all done, we got to start early,
I
buddy.
guess you're right.
Yeah.
The legal ad bulkhead.
Well, we can, yeah. How about, let's do 279 first, if you don't mind.
Okay.
That one's easier.
All right. I don't mind. I don't mind. As long as James doesn't mind, okay?
shouldn't sign it already.
Couple extra clicks.
No carpal tunnel.
Yep. He's talking to you, Aaron.
I heard it. Just throw it on the pile.
So catwalk with hind ramp and float.
So this is a dock, ramp, and float that extends a total of 36.5 feet into Davis Creek. It meets all the requirements.
I think the board had recommended some changes which were incorporated.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right. I believe so, yes.
Some of the properties got
That's the latest.
adequate water depth. There's a few of the channel that's there.
Yeah,
25 feet.
yeah,
Makes one question.
yeah. That works.
You need this? You got that?
No, it's
Matt,
good.
you good? I don't know, it works.
Yeah, it works, yes. Yep,
That was the easier one, Aaron, huh?
that's why they wanted to do it first.
Thank you.
All right, so that can
Looks good.
advance. And then 175.
Okay, 175. And for tuning in First Coastal West Hampton Beach on behalf of the applicant. This is a bulkhead replacement project, and there was a question over how this got built in the first place because there weren't any trustee records on file. So we did some investigation and as to when and how this was built. We sent you a letter in January 10th. And basically in order to figure out what happened here, we went back and looked at a
Is this the one that Ed was saying? It looks like it's from the 50s or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
and he just
danger.
looked at it. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
from the 50s.
And so this survey should be in your file. What we did was we looked at a whole bunch of old surveys and to figure out where this was when it got built. And what and so as best we can figure, this was not built as a bulkhead. It was built as a retaining wall above the high water line. Like,
Oh, and now it's a bulkhead.
and now it's a bulkhead.
Okay.
And so, so we didn't need a trustee because it wasn't in jurisdiction. And so, but now the water does touch it, and it was there.
Now it's our
And
jurisdiction.
now it's in
Yeah.
your jurisdiction.
Okay.
And I went there, oh gosh, I forgot to put the date on these. But these are some photos of the site. And what's nice about this site and this project is that there's a very healthy little Spartina marsh that has grown up in front of it. And on top of the existing bulkhead / retaining wall now, it's got Rosa rugosa and some other native uplands. So, pulling the old one out, putting a new bulkhead in, replanting the top with, it's already got a built-in buffer of 10 feet. So, and that way we don't disturb the marsh. We can,
We're using rock instead of a bulkhead.
well, because we're gonna chew up a lot more real estate, number one, because we're gonna need at least 12 feet of footprint.
And you may endanger that nice little
And
Spartina
then
marsh.
we'll have marsh.
Yeah.
This way we can pull the one out and slip the other one in.
Least
really no
invasive.
disturbance.
So you're just gonna pump it, rattle it in.
Yeah, and these could almost bang them in.
Yeah. Or at least like a little hydraulic.
Yeah, a little,
I think
Well,
the least,
vibrating.
the least disturbance you have to that marsh
Yeah,
is
I mean,
probably.
yeah.
It's nice, isn't it? It's really kind of healthy.
It's nice.
And it's up and down the strip, so
Yeah.
really, and the fact that the marsh is growing there, it's a pioneer. It did it on its own, it wasn't planted.
That's, you want to preserve that.
So just
Are
leave
you
that
gonna put it in
condition.
the same jogs and everything of the existing one?
Yeah.
You want to preserve that marsh.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, because that, because the marsh is right there in the corner.
So you're just gonna mimic what's
Yeah.
there. You're gonna pull and replace?
Yeah, pull and replace. Just do it in sections.
I would say you need to preserve that marsh. So the
Yeah.
method needs to take that into consideration.
Aaron?
Yeah.
The retaining wall, when it was built as a retaining wall, was there a permit on file from downstairs?
No. Didn't find anything.
Okay. Could you just perhaps put on the cover sheet, just for historical records for the future, that the previous retaining wall, now bulkhead, was not, there was no trustee jurisdiction, just 25, 30 years from now,
Right.
There's not gonna be a covenant, so the title report isn't gonna pick it up.
There's a paper trail.
The record's gotta be straight.
All over the paper.
Yeah, and keeping
Thanks.
in the
Makes
consistency of
life
the way
easy
the
for my
bulkhead is
successor.
They're gonna make it the
drawn
same
out,
height.
keeps consistent.
It's gonna be the
Cuts-
same height.
There's
as
no
the
erosion
existing.
going on here, so it's a building beach.
Is
You know,
that
see?
the height of the
Yeah.
railroad?
Is it the same as here?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
the water's coming over.
This is what we try to accomplish all around, but
You have an environment there that seems to be thriving, and you
Yeah.
don't want to
What's the grade behind
impede
that?
that.
It's flat. You want to keep this? Sure. Yeah.
Like, is there? You're gonna have 6 inches of whaler exposed on the landward side, correct?
Yes.
yeah, these are taken dead of winter, I guess.
No, I know, but I just can't see what the grade is going to that. But it's,
Oh yeah, it's about 6 inches
it's
lower.
about 6 inches already.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
well, that's gonna be on the plan. I want.
You want the grade on the plan?
Yeah, and what is the fill behind it? Right? Are you running?
At least 4 inches.
No, but are you running grass right up to this, or do you have a?
No, it's all. If you look at those photos, it's all.
Yeah, I understand it's on the photos. I want to know
that's-
what's on the plan.
Yeah, we'll put it on.
If you're gonna put.
beach grass.
Yeah, you got it, you got it.
Like,
Those are-
it sounds. I know. Like it's got to be dialed in. You're gonna have high tide bushes. Put high tide bushes. If you're gonna, can't just say native plants.
Okay.
We need a plant spacing. We need everything nailed down because, in past we've had troubles with some of these inspections where it says, oh, we have native species, and you have 1 or 2 sprigs of native species, and then somebody comes in and puts fill in. Well, we got our native, so we need it nailed down.
Looks like it's like 12 inches. The railroad ties are probably 6 inch.
Yeah, I would agree.
So there's 2 of them exposed on the other side. That look right.
So it's closer to.
Yeah, those are
10
8 bys.
inches.
It looks like those are 8 bys. So
Yeah,
it's pretty close.
it's pretty close. All right. Well, we'll make sure it's 6 inches. And planting plan.
Exactly.
And then your plans also show you need hot water pretty far away from
Well, that was the that
the.
was
You get an updated
yeah,
plan.
update. Yeah, we're definitely gonna update the plans and stamp them.
So hold until.
Well, that's what it was on the old survey.
Mean high, there's a stain on the.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Well, it was
wall
on
that's
the,
there.
we just copied it off the survey. and we
Yeah,
did
this is
site.
2021, surveyed in 2021 and revised in 2024. So.
We be given 17th, they need more time.
We could probably turn this
Yeah,
around.
we can do that.
Yeah.
Try and get it on for next work session.
We'd like to,
Yeah.
if that's possible.
It's up to you.
And provide stamp plans as well.
So hold until 17th.
Okay,
Okay,
17th, that's all you have, right?
that's it.
That's all we
Okay.
need.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks for
gentlemen.
your time.
Appreciate
All
it.
right, you got it.
And thanks for making all the signs the same.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that'd be helpful. We got 5:48.
Definitely sent an email stage you can't make it to this.
Daphne?
Yes.
All right, so that's on hold.
That's my 548.
Yeah.
We received an email from Steve Sienkiewicz about it. I'm just going to read this out loud. I don't know if you guys got it. I conducted a site inspection for the Kashansky application today. The walkway would go over a tidal marsh dominated by Spartina and possibly spikegrass with patches of common reed and mosquito ditches. There were no other structures in this direct vicinity, although there is an apparent upland dike about 150 feet to the east, likely the material dredged to create the ditches. A small marina approximately 350 feet to the east, and a long, about 500-foot long walkway to the west, about 600 feet away. Our concerns with the length of the proposed walkway remain, especially since it would cross over mostly native vegetation. We'll likely be sending a comment letter on this, but we'll discuss further internally and let you know. I could be
Alright.
available for a call next week instead.
That was from,
That's from Steve Sienkiewicz.
okay, so it's on hold.
Mhm.
Oh, if he has his letter,
Yeah, try and
Is the
like, get the
is the
letter,
walkway going to be
Yeah.
elevated 54 inches?
I think 4 feet.
4 feet?
Mhm.
Not 4.5
Yeah.
feet?
I thought it was 4 feet.
And it's going to have railings on it?
4 feet from stairs to vegetation.
Does this have to apply to Army Corps? Yeah, right?
Yeah, they should.
So, I mean, that's gotta be higher than 4 foot.
It's usually 54 inches.
Yeah.
I know I know there were a couple memos from Chuck Hamilton and the DEC in the past in this area not wanting these railings on these docks because of birds of prey would perch on them and predate the other, like plovers and other shorebirds in the area. Is that a concern still, or is it something that?
That would be that would be the guy that just
that's
wrote
the letter,
to him.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
that's- yeah,
I mean, my suggestion is we put it on hold,
yeah.
have everybody come in, and then we'll address it when we're actually, you know. There's gonna be a lot of questions with this one, right?
Yeah, but it specifically says 4 feet. Minimum distance of 4 feet between stringers and their wetland vegetation.
That's what the Army Corps probably encourages, is 4 feet.
Right.
Even with the flow through that.
Yeah.
Issues, so.
I know.
And then if it's over 4 feet, they're gonna need railings for safety.
I know.
Right.
It's not,
It's going to be like a bridge.
They
That's-
have, thankfully, a minimalist railing according
Right.
to the plans. I mean, there's no spindles; it's just one top rail,
Right.
which
it's probably.
probably is a good thing.
code.
Yeah.
Hold,
Hold.
hold. Let's go to general permit application for determination.
Me 44 first. I as Jim's here in the audience.
Let's look at the plan.
You want to come down, Jim, or are you good?
I don't think he doesn't have to, I don't think, but if he wants to, he can.
Well, you're here.
Stamp
so-
plans, we have the stamp
No.
plans, they match.
I mean,
I want to make sure this thing gets approved because the client has to go back to the village on the 11th.
All right, well, you've satisfied everything that we needed, so,
It's all good.
yeah.
well, you hear 5 Edgemere. Any update with that with your clients? 5 Edgemere? Or no?
We're getting there. Okay. One step at a time. I spoke to the lady this morning.
Just check.
Advance that, James.
We'll get it resolved.
All right.
soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Be talking soon.
Okay.
Take
it easy.
You too. We need exec, right? We have an exec going on for discussion of
Yes.
personnel issues.
Personnel.
So I would like to make a motion to adjourn the work session, go into executive session for the purposes of discussion concerning personnel and litigation.
Second.
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee McLaughlin. All in favor?
All right.
Have a great one, everybody. We'll see you later on this afternoon.